Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear students, I hope that you are all doing well. Today's lecture is a continuation of the previous one. We are still talking about organs of speech. We started talking about the soft palate and actually the hard palate, the alveolar ridge. And today we are going to talk about the third or the second part of the palate, which is the soft palate. As you remember, we said that the palate is divided into two parts. The first part is called the hard palate, which consists of the alveolar ridge and the hard palate. And the second part is the soft palate. The soft palate is the movable part of the palate. It's movable, it's active, it can move. Okay, it can move. Okay, while the hard palate, the alveolar ridge and the hard palate, are fixed passive organs of speech. They do not move. We can feel the alveolar ridge and the hard palate with the tip of our tongues, but we cannot do that with regard to the soft palate. We cannot feel it, but we can see it if we have a mirror in front of us and we open our mouth saying "oh" and open the mouth as much as possible. Maybe we will be able to see the soft palate. Okay, so it is not felt, it can be seen. The soft palate can take two different positions. What are these positions? The first one is to be raised. That is, the soft palate is raised inside the vocal tract. Actually, in this case, if the soft palate is raised, the nasal cavity will be closed and the air will go out through the mouth, through the oral cavity. In this case, we will have an oral sound. So if we try, for example, saying the sound shh, in this sound, the soft palate will take a raised position. It is raised. Suppose that this is the soft palate. It is raised to be in touch with this line, if you can see it. In this case, the air will be unable to pass through the nose. It will definitely oblige to move and take the direction of the oral cavity rather than the nasal cavity. This is when the soft palate is raised. The nasal cavity is closed. Okay, and the air goes out through the mouth. While in the second case, as we can see here, this is the pronunciation of ma, and this is the pronunciation of ne. Here, the soft palate is lowered. Look, it is lowered, and the air can go out through the nasal cavity. Okay, the air can go out through the nasal cavity. But remember always that when the soft palate is lowered, the nasal cavity is open, but at the same time, the oral cavity is closed. Here, the oral cavity is closed by the lips, and here, the oral cavity is closed by the tip of the tongue and the alveolar ridge. This is for ne. Okay, the lips are closing the oral cavity with the tip of the tongue, and the contact it makes with the alveolar ridge blocks the oral cavity. Okay, so we have two conditions in order to have a nasal sound. The first one is that the soft palate is lowered like this, and the second condition, shart al-akhar, is that there should be what? There should be a closure in the oral cavity. Okay, now What are oral sounds? Oral sounds are the sounds produced when the air goes out through the mouth. That's to say, the soft palate is raised and the nasal cavity is closed. Okay? The air will go out through the oral cavity. That's why it's called oral. The nasal sounds, on the other hand, are the sounds produced when the air goes out through the nose, which means that the soft palate is lowered. The soft palate is lowered, while in this case, the soft palate is raised. Okay? The soft palate is raised. Okay? So in oral sounds, the soft palate is raised, the nasal cavity is closed, the air goes throughout the oral cavity. In nasal sounds, we have another position for the soft palate, which is to be lowered. In this case, the nasal cavity is open. It's open, and the air goes out through the nose. Now, the teeth are also very important here. We have the lower teeth and the upper teeth. The upper teeth are not important except for some sounds which might not be pronounced in a correct way when the upper front teeth are missing. Kids, when they are still building up their teeth, okay, they lose their teeth and they regain them again. While they are losing their teeth, they are not able, for example, to say any word that contains the sound se. So instead of saying sink, they say think, because se cannot be pronounced. City, thiti. Even in Arabic, we have the same thing. In this case, when some of the upper front teeth are missing, such a problem might happen. But the most important part of the teeth is the lower teeth. The lower teeth. They are important in the pronunciation of sounds, just like f and th. Actually, this is the contrary. These are the upper teeth. The upper teeth. The upper teeth are also important in the pronunciation of sounds such as this is the lower teeth. Sorry for the mistake. So the upper teeth are important in the pronunciation of sounds such as f and th. If you pronounce the sound f, you can see and feel, you can see in the mirror and feel that the lower lip is raised and be in partial contact with the upper front teeth. F, f, v, f, v. Okay? Another sound which is produced with the help of the upper front teeth is the th sound. Th. The tip of the tongue is actually moves forward. It moves forward and be in touch with the upper front teeth. Okay. So the same thing is happening with the tip of the tongue is pushed forward to be in touch with the upper front teeth. So just to correct your information and mine, the upper front teeth are more important than the lower front teeth. Now, look at the pronunciation of f. The lower lip is raised to be in touch with the upper front teeth, like fit, beef, fit, beef, f. You can feel that the lower lip is raised and becomes in contact with the upper front teeth. The same thing happens with th, but now the tip of the tongue is pushed forward, the tip of the tongue, with the upper front teeth. While here, it's the lower lip and the upper front teeth. Okay? The tongue, actually, the tongue is the most important organ of speech. It is more important than the soft palate, than the vocal folds, than the lips. Why? Because, and the teeth, because the tongue is actually, it has the greatest variety of movements. It has a great variety of movements. Actually, greater than any other speech organ. It can move in different directions. It can move upward, downward, leftward, rightward, forward, and backward. Okay? The movement is very great. It can be in touch with various organs of speech. As we can see here, for example, with the sound th, the tongue is in contact with the upper front teeth, Just like with the sound t, the tip is in contact with the alveolar ridge. With ye, the front of the tongue is in contact with the area between the alveolar ridge and the hard palate. With the ke, the back of the tongue is raised to be in touch with the soft palate. So it can move to be in touch with various organs of speech. It can be in touch with various organs of speech. It has 4 parts which are involved with many sounds. The tongue, as we can see in this figure, some scholars say it is divided into 5 parts. They include the root, another part here which is called the root of the tongue. And some others, like Peter Roach in our book, it assumes, assumes that we have only 4 parts of the tongue: the tip, the blade, the front, and the back. As I told you, in some in some books of pronunciation, they assume having a 5th part, which is called the root of the tongue. It could be somewhere here, the root of the tongue. These are the parts of the tongue that are very important, not just in the pronunciation of consonants, but also in the pronunciation of vowels, as we will see later on, inshallah. So we have the tip, the blade, the front, the back, and the root, which is sometimes found, sometimes not found in books of pronunciation. I hope that the lecture is clear. We will meet, inshallah, to discuss it in more details. Thank you.